What the heck is going on, Panthers Nation? My freaking goodness, did we experience a bleeping, add another bleep in there, bleep butt whooping today? My freaking gosh. That was terrible. Hey, first of all, if you're here, thank you. Please hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Please join the chat. This is wide open tonight. I'm only going to be on here for 20 minutes because I have a podcast episode coming out on YouTube at 10:30 Eastern time. But until that point, I said, you know what? We're going to hop on here and talk about the Carolina Panthers and how poorly that team played today. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I don't want to spoil too much of the episode that I have coming out in just a minute. But yeah, it was a bad day, folks. And I think I could probably spend another 30 minutes on this show right now, or the rest of the show that I'm live talking about Bryce Young and his performance. It was pathetic. Folks, I'm a Bryce Young supporter. Day one, I've been here, supported Bryce. I always support Bryce. Folks, this is a 17-game sample size for this quarterback. 17 games in year two, a full offseason, a revamped offensive line, and we are still seeing the same mistakes. Folks, this isn't a fifth-round pick. It's not a sixth-round pick. It's not a seventh-round pick. It's not an undrafted free agent. It is a number one overall draft pick quarterback that is supposed to change your franchise. But we don't know. I just tweeted it out that this fan base is tipping the scale on I don't cuss, man, but a freaking game against the Green Bay Packers in December of last year on Christmas Eve, and we still want to hold his hand. Grow up, folks, man. And I am the biggest supporter. And here's the thing. If you talk about Bryce Young, it's always got to be you're either Team Bryce or you're Team Bryce hater, whatever the Bryce sexual or whatever y'all call it. I don't even care what you call it because I have on record since day one supporting this guy. Well, we got to wake up, man. This is an NFL quarterback, and there is a serious, I have never come on this show. And since I've started recording this, if I ever had the idea, realistically, that I thought we should ever think about a backup quarterback. But this comes down to winning football games. And what Bryce Young is doing, he's not even a game manager at this point. He is not. He can't even manage the game. He comes out the first series, first play, throws an interception. Right to them. I mean, he overthrows the ball. I don't know who he was throwing it to. He continued to miss open throws all day, and it should have gotten easier because they were getting blown out in garbage time. You know what his first quarter stats were? 1 for 4, 14 yards, 1 interception, 2.1 passer rating. Now, I cannot put this whole thing on Bryce Young. Do not get me wrong. The rushing attack was pathetic. Absolutely garbage. 58 total rushing yards, and we're going to talk about us being a run-heavy team. Sure, we were down. I get it. So you're not going to really be running the ball much, but it wasn't great. Your receiving core didn't do that much to age it either. We talk a lot about Bryce Young. We need to talk about Jonathan Mingo. Dude fumbled the ball on a very clean NFL tackle, and the ball pops out. Tyrann Mathieu comes in, makes a fantastic play. Jonathan Mingo gets bailed out. Very luckily that his foot is out of bounds on the other play late in the game. And we come away, whatever the stat line is, I don't care because it was complete and utter garbage. And as a fan base, you got to ask yourself, this is not about Bryce Young's development anymore. We've seen how quickly teams move on from quarterbacks. I talk about Zach Wilson, talk about Mac Jones, Justin Fields. I know those guys were like year 3, year 4. a little bit further, but it's going to happen a lot quicker than you think. And if Dave Canales says who he is, if he's going to come up here and talk this talk that we're going to challenge every position on this team, you got to do it. And you got to be a man of your word. And I'm not saying tomorrow he has to go out there and start Andy Dalton, but if this thing gets out of hand, and there was a hot take that came out earlier this offseason that Bryce Young would get benched halfway through the season, and I know it was a hot take prediction, but I'm going to tell you right now, if we do not see a big improvement, folks, we're past the hand-holding stage of this quarterback for this team. There is no more hand-holding for Bryce Young. It's just not. And I'm spending a lot of time talking about him. This was a complete beatdown. This team was hot freaking garbage today. And man, here's the thing. I will tell you this, if you're a player, if you're a coach, because I know those things intertwine with the folks that follow me now, and it's never out of disrespect for those folks, those players, teams, coaches, anyone that's involved, wives, families. It is not meant as disrespectful. I never, ever say anything bad about anyone on here. I'm telling you, from a football product standpoint, the product that was put on the field was terrible. And we are now in over, I don't know how long is Tepper on this team? Is it 6 years? Is it 7 years? I don't know what it is. We are the laughing stock of the NFL. It is not getting better. The defense sliced and missed. And I don't know. I mean, I talked about it on the podcast. I don't know if J.C. Horn was supposed to have the cover. I kid you not, the New Orleans Saints did not punt the ball until the fourth quarter. That's how bad we were. They didn't put the ball in the first half. They scored every single drive in the first half. They scored 8 out of 10 drives. Their first 8 drives they scored. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, field goal. That was the first half. Second half, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, punt, punt. There were circumstances that gave them opportunities to score, but that's what you're supposed to do when you get an interception in the first half. You go to the locker room and regroup, and at that point, it was a blowout at 30-3, and you come out of the half, and Bryce Young throws another interception, and you close the game, and they had the 2 punts. On our side of the ball, let's go back because I just posted this one as well. Carolina Panthers summary in the first half: interception, punt, fumble, punt, field goal, the lone field goal, and then an interception, touchdown, punt, turnover on downs, punt, end of game. It was terrible. In the first half, the longest drive was 40 yards, and that was the field goal drive. Honestly, you could probably say from the first quarter on, we were in garbage time. Technically, maybe you say halftime, but it was 17-0. And I don't remember the stat that they popped up about the Saints and the scoring, with that being like the highest scoring quarter in franchise history. I don't know what it was in an opening day. They've got the most random stats now, but it was up there. Panthers drive summary: 1 play, 1 interception, come right out of the gate, throw that pick. That was, you talk about momentum killer. And Dave Canales in the presser at the end said that he didn't really think that was going to be a sign of things to come. I hate to tell you that Panthers fans that were here last year, maybe if you follow this team, and you unfortunately did, it's a repeat. It's rinse and repeat. Like, what exactly has changed? And here is the thing. I've tweeted it a few times. I just said it on the podcast, but I don't care. I'm going to say it again. We just went through an entire preseason program with the head coach, with the offense playing the one series, and even then it wasn't the full offense. And we get out here into a real game where we are getting blown out. And then at that point, we decide, oh, yeah, we are just going to keep the ones out there, hoping that we'll figure something out. Dave Canales says at the end of the game, we just hope, maybe things will gel and click at that point, right? Maybe then we'll see something. No, my gosh, like, I don't know what is going to happen. Here's the lens that I'll put this under right now. And I know Adam Thielen said this isn't last year's team. A lot of folks say this isn't last year's team. Sure, it's not. And there's been a lot of turnover, and there's this conversation about working towards getting better. It's going to be a journey. It's going to take time. What are they at the end of the season? I came into this and I said 5 to 6 wins would be realistic, but that was before I saw what we saw today. And I don't know if 1 or 2 wins is more realistic at this point. What I was going to say, number one, if I'm going to put on my optimistic hat of a Panthers fan right now, we're going to hope that New Orleans is just a freaking good football team, which I do think they probably are. We thought we were going to come in here and run all over them, that whatever happened this offseason was going to happen. It didn't. New Orleans played a superb game. Offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, and on special teams. Our special teams has not looked good the entire preseason. And I'm not just talking about field goals. I'm talking about kick, punt return coverage. Our coverages are bad. We saw the punt, whatever happened there with Hecker. It's not good, man. And I will say, like, for me personally, I was a fan of Chris Tabor from a special teams, not as a head coach. I thought he had the special teams playing well. That's not good, man. You can't have all 3 phases of your team playing this poorly. The tackling was absolutely terrible. The pressure, there was no pressure on Carr. Like, he had all day to throw, man. It's not good. It's not a good situation right now. I can't give you any optimism, like, outside of just, hey, maybe New Orleans is really good. They're going to win the division. I will tell you, Tampa Bay looking good as well. Atlanta dropped 1. It sucks being on this side, to be honest. I mean, it does. Like, for me too, as I record and make this, like, I don't like following and giving updates on a team that doesn't win football games, but it's a state of where we are right now, man. It's not good. And I know it's not fun. I'm curious to see what the turnout is going to be. Los Angeles Chargers, who I thought maybe would be winnable. I mean, you have Harbaugh going out here, mustering up a win over the Raiders. Not going to be easy task. I mean, the Panthers played both of those teams. So Chargers here, travel out, play the Raiders. Maybe we see that Gardner Minshew isn't what he is, but Justin Herbert, J.K. Dobbins, he put up 135 rushing yards today against the Raiders on the Los Angeles Chargers. Hayden Hurst got a few catches. Yes, the Hayden Hurst. I didn't get to see Chark's stat line or know if he played. I just was listening to a lot of the stuff as we were driving back from Burlington and after the game. It's bad, man. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but the pass rush, like, I thought with where New Orleans was this offseason or preseason, and I guess you couple in the offseason, that, like, hey, maybe this is our chance to get right and get pressure. There was no pressure, man. It's going to be a long year if this is the path. And, like, sure, you talk about all this and maybe it's a blip. Maybe it was just every ball fell New Orleans way today. But at the same time, man, we've been watching this for realistically, watching this for years. But you go back there, the thing that still drives me crazy is the team that we had here under Matt Rule, that Steve Wilkes took over. I don't know that team was that much better than what we have. And I'm not saying that Canales can't promote and motivate and coach and get the team ready. It was just a different style of football back then. And I don't know what is missing. I can only hope that you go into this. I mean, I don't even know if you want to watch this film, to be honest. Like, this might be one of the ones you pass on. Now, for Bryce Young's sake, I hope we watch it. I hope he watches it, because there's a lot that he needs to digest and figure out. Now, I've been rambling, and if you're tuning in, one, I appreciate it. I'm only going to be on here for another minute because I have the live premiere of the podcast coming out in just a second. I wanted to come on here while I was recording and get something out as well. But let me hop in the comments because I gotta catch up on this. Hot garbage game. Yes, it is. Keep pounding. It is hot garbage. Tough day. I feel your pain. Tell it like it is. Here's my thought. David Tepper. He's ruined it. There is no doubt in my mind that this man has single-handedly destroyed this franchise. I don't know where you go from here. He's stuck. He's stuck with Dave Canales. He's stuck with Bryce Young. And sure, there's much more that goes into like how we got here over the last whatever 6 years. It's not good. It's not good. Killing my soul. Just make Carolina great again. Can we make Carolina mediocre again? Can we do something, man? Oh my gosh. It's bad, man. I don't know. It's another year where you look at the storylines and so did so good. They look so great. Dude, I honestly, I'd rather have Terrace Marshall Jr. out there who's not even on the team than some of the stuff we saw today. Now, it's not on them. There were some guys that were getting open, but there's seriously at the quarterback position, there's got to be a talk, man. Is Bryce Young an NFL quarterback? And I have a poll out there if you are inclined to vote. And again, I don't care which side you vote on. You can vote wherever you want, but I do have a poll running right now. So actively, it's just a question: is Bryce Young the future of Carolina? And there's 82 votes. You still have 23 hours to vote if you want to participate. 32% say that Bryce is the future. 67% of folks out of that 82 say Bryce Young is not the future of Carolina. So with the first pick in the 2025 NFL draft, who are we going to take? Man, I will say this for the Gamecock side. I hoped as we got blown out that we would get to see Spencer Rattler, which we didn't. So that was a little frustrating for me. But it's wild, man. Spartanburg and Carolina is recognized more the Saints players than Panthers. Oh no, man. Panthers squad it's a mystery, and you've got all the turnover, and then you bring in the guys off of waivers. It's so bad. Why do people keep thinking Chargers game is winnable or might have been? It's a good question. I thought personally that maybe we would catch Harbaugh on a down, like that Harbaugh just wouldn't have this thing figured out, but I doubt it. I think they're going to come into Bank of America Stadium, probably light it up. It's going to be a long year, man. It is going to be a long year. No blip. Defense is terrible. It is very bad. Yeah, man. And yeah, shout out to Keep Pounding, man. I do get to try to tune into you every now and then. It's so bad. Oh, yeah. I gotta say, like, and I kind of did it on the episode and getting ready to hop off, but it was not just Bryce. It was every phase of this game. This team did not look good, dude. Yes, Mike Jackson, the cornerback opposite of J.C. Horn, really was the bright spot on the defense. Like out of everything, I feel for Clowney because like Clowney has no one else opposite of him to help get pressure. So Clowney's on an island. Clowney is over there talking to the guys on the sideline after every series, trying to keep them in line, trying to keep them motivated. And oh my God, it's rough, y'all. But anyways, the live or the whatever premiere is going to come on. Yeah, as far as numbers, Clowney didn't do much, but I think that was across the board. It was not good, man. But we got the podcast episode coming out in just a minute, so unfortunately, I'm going to hop off here. But appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll always catch y'all. Yeah, I'll say Shaq did it. Shaq did number wise, definitely not a bad game. But I think there was just a ton of missed tackling across the board. And I know I saw him miss a few, but I don't know, man. It's gonna be a long one. So I'll be back though with more, and appreciate y'all tuning in. I will see y'all on